Tell him the story.
Tell him the story. So we talking about rumors, right?
Yeah.
And we, when you Google his name, there's a rumor that pops up that he was Diddy's boy toy.
Oh shit!
Right.
Wait, so this is
so Charlamagne said
it's not true, but I told after he brought up this stuff with you, I said, you know what 50 gonna say when he meets you.
Oh no, I don't know that was going on.
Speaking of, in particular, Netflix docuseries that you've been working on, Diddy Do It?
Right.
You've been saying for years that you feel you knew Diddy's character.
Right.
Yet you said you weren't a part of that lifestyle. You weren't going to the parties. So what makes you so absolutely sure that these kinds of allegations that we've seen against him are true?
Well, I'm surprised by the allegations, as surprised as everyone else is. Like, I didn't make the allegations. I didn't tell people to say these things. It comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else. But I did feel uncomfortable with the way you represent the idea of going to these projects.
To come party with me.
Yeah.
No. Fuck, like he called, we used to kick it on telephone after the meeting.
Right.
And be like, matter of fact, they sent me the girl pictures, like pictures of this girl, like, not the shit that y'all saw. Worse, way worse.
For years, stories surrounding Diddy and Usher circulated as fragmented whispers, half-heard, easily dismissed, rarely followed by consequence. 50 Cent's documentary reframes those moments not as isolated rumors, but as signals within a broader structure of power and protection. What once sounded like gossip is now examined as a pattern shaped by access, fear, and selective memory. When silence repeats itself across decades, does it remain accidental or does it become structural?
First and foremost, I just want to say, I know a lot of people want to hear these stories and everything like that because this is stuff that happened back in the day. And then maybe that if they knew there was going to ever be a YouTube or they knew there was going to ever be social media, a lot of the stuff probably wouldn't have got played out like it did. But things happen, and these are just stories from the past. I would like to use that as what you call that, just to clear the facts up what's going on. But it all started. We was in Atlanta, and this story starts when I'm with Puff, and he's in exotic bookstores, and he's doing shopping. Right, he's shopping, getting his stuff and everything like that. So, this is the first time I was ever in an exotic bookstore with Puff. So, I'm giving him his space. He's taking things off the shelves and stuff like that because they gave him a brown paper bag. When they gave him a brown paper bag, he was just putting stuff in there. So I said, damn, he got to go put it on the counter and, show everybody what he's getting. So as he's going, I'm just looking at the places where he's picking stuff from. So there's one part he picked up some things from up here on my left side. And then he picked like quite a few of them down. I'm like, okay. He put them in the bag. So when I went by there and I looked up there and it said butt plugs. And I was like, hey, yo, I was messing with him because people don't understand, we was like friends. He was a part of the same gang. So I'm still going to tease him. I'm still going to mess with him and everything like that. I could do that. It wasn't just no security thing. So I say, yo, what are you getting this for? And it said butt plugs. And he was like, yo, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yeah, you could do it by yourself, brother. And he started walking and everything like that. So when he got I just waited at the counter. So when he got to the counter, he didn't even have to show the guy nothing. He just gave the guy a wad of money.
At the center of the narrative is a pivotal decision. A teenage Usher, newly signed and highly vulnerable, was placed inside Diddy's world at the height of his influence. The explanation was always opportunity, exposure, mentorship, artistic growth. The documentary slows that logic down and examines its cost. A minor entered an adult ecosystem because success was promised, and success was treated as justification. If achievement becomes the only measure, what happens to risks that can't be quantified?
I mean, like, he gave the guy a stack something like this. And Puff wasn't a dude that carried no 20s and no 50s and nothing like that. And I mean, like, he just said, boom. And we walked out the store. So we had to leave Atlanta and go to North Carolina for a show. You understand? And it was him, this rapper, Sarah, and this other girl. We all got on a G5 jet, and we flew to G4 jet, and we flew to North Carolina. So later on I think that afternoon, same day, this rapper and him, they all in the room together. You know, it's Sarah, the girl, Puff, and this dude, this rapper. So I'm hearing at the door and stuff like that. Like, yeah. So then next thing you know, somebody rang the doorbell. We had the presidential suite where we was at. So I opened the door, and the dude said, "Yo, I'm here for my cousin." I said, "Who your cousin?" And he said, "Ja Rule." I said, "Well, he busy right now." He said, "He busy doing what?" I said, "He with Puff. They're in the room. They busy. They don't want to be bothered." He said, "Well, I'm going in there." I said, "Bro, you ain't going in there because he told me they don't want nobody to be bothering them." And he was like, "Yo, I don't care, man. I'm going in there." That bull like that. I said, "Yo, bro, Jesus Christ had to come down here and take the air out of my body before you get in that room right there. Watch. He tried to bum rush me. I grabbed his and threw him against the piano. When I threw him into the piano, Puff and Ja Rule runs out the room. Puff got his towel, Ja grabbing his towel, but they butt the naked. And so then Ja was like, "Yo, what's going on? Yo, G, that's my cousin." He know me well, you know, and Puff was like, "Yo, G, what happened?" I said, "He tried to get in the room. I told him he couldn't get in the room." And he was like, Puff looked at Ja. He said, "Yo," Ja said, "You ain't want to go in that room because there's a lot of freaking going on." So I was like, "Oh," he said it was a lot of freaking going on. So that was basically that story, man. You know what I'm saying? They went back in the room. Dude felt a certain kind of way, and he left out. So I seen them at the concert the next day, and they tried to, you know, form up against me. But my man Frank was like, I told my man Frank, I was like, "Yo, Frank, put yourself in that position. Somebody trying to get in the room, and Ja told you don't let nobody get in the room. What would you do?" Now, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do, man, but you know I ain't taking no losses. He said, "Yo, you good, and that was it." Bro, when Ja said, "You don't want to come up in there, a lot of freaky stuff is going on. You got to use your mind." What they was doing with those butt plugs.
Right. Yeah,
that was crazy. Yeah, it was real wild.
When Usher reflects publicly on that period, his words are careful, restrained, and unfinished. He references unfamiliar environments and experiences he didn't fully understand, stopping short of detail. The documentary treats that restraint as meaningful, not as proof of wrongdoing, but as unresolved weight. Silence here isn't emptiness. It's pressure. When someone consistently chooses what not to say, what history are they carrying?
Moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah, that's what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle,
right?
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans, Jodeci, Mary J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And what kind, do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem. I had like,
what
like
a
living
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
See?
The industry has long defended itself with a familiar claim. Proximity to power is how stars are made. Gatekeepers frame these arrangements as rites of passage, necessary risks in pursuit of greatness. The documentary challenges that logic, asking whether mentorship without safeguard becomes exposure, and whether ambition without accountability turns into negligence when adults make irreversible decisions for minors. In the end, who owns the consequences?
Puffy invited me for weeks asking me to come and teach him wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. He's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to
Come on now, dog.
That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh.
Come on, man.
Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers coming to make the approach and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. You know, when you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room.
Man. Nick was bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. So I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard, and that's what happened. And that's just, that's something that you heard. You don't know if it's true. You just heard it. So, and just to hear this and this new thing where they saying that they got kids coming forward and said that he did that. Man, that's just crazy. And like I just said, that's just something that I heard. It's something that I didn't know. It's something that I ain't see. A lot of people want to, because Gene Deal has spoken on certain things that I've heard, I have spoken on it. But then they were just trying to say, I know. No, I'm not scared to say what I heard. And if there's any truth to it, then it's truth to it. Let them find it. Things that I've saw or things that I've witnessed and been a part of, I've said it. I'm not afraid to say what I saw or what I didn't see. A lot of people want to make up shit. I don't make up things. When I say Puff go in the room with 2 girls, you understand, and another guy, and a rapper, and then all of a sudden, they cousin try to go in the room. I throw them up against the piano. They run out the room grabbing towels and they naked. They still had 2 girls in the room. But people want to make up a lot of bullshit and say what they want to say and flip it the way they want to flip it. I tell it like it is. But you got these guys, you got these people out here, man. You know what I'm saying? All this shit is for entertainment, man. Some people want the truth. Some people speak the truth. Some people don't even know the fucking truth. It'll smack them dead in the fucking face, bro. But I tell you one thing, it's from my mouth to God's ear. And all these clowns can say whatever they want to say. Like I'm just saying, he lived a rock and roll lifestyle when I was with him, bro. I don't know about his sex addiction and stuff like that. He was a totally different person, bro. When I try to tell people that, they don't understand that. He was probably doing some of the little snake shit, doing some things and stuff like that, but the magnitude and what he was doing with the freak off parties and all like that, I didn't experience that with him. That was not my experience with Diddy. Or Puffy. Or Puff Daddy. That wasn't my experience with him.
And you had no idea who Usher was when you heard about him.
I didn't know who Usher was at the time.
The narrative widens with the introduction of Justin Bieber, another prodigy brought into the same orbit at a similar age. Discovery, rapid ascent, and close access to powerful figures followed a strikingly familiar path. The documentary does not claim equivalence. It observes repetition. When the same decisions recur, involving the same vulnerabilities and similar power dynamics, when does coincidence begin to look like design?
Yeah, so as soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you rock this every time you come to LA. Yeah, it's gonna be yours. So every time you come to LA, it's a little dusty, but you know, we'll get the first shot in.
Man.
That out. Minute.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna be driving this next year.
Yeah, when you get 16, you come out, you gotta, you know, wear your seat.
I mean, I'm 15. You could ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit. Not yet.
No.
All right, 16.
No, slow down. Let's slow down, Josh.
Okay.
Let's slow down. Okay.
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when you get 16. You're good to go.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Then when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay. I get the mansion.
Yeah.
All right. So where are we off to now?
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where are we going?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
One resurfaced clip becomes symbolic. A teenager described as spending time with an older industry figure, framed casually and without clarity. The documentary focuses less on the moment itself and more on how it was presented. Humor, ambiguity, and secrecy often function as shields, especially in spaces where questioning authority carries consequences. Even without asserting what occurred, the lack of transparency raises a deeper concern. Why was clarity never considered necessary?
We have Aubrey O'Day speaking out in the new Netflix Diddy documentary. We have heard Aubrey O'Day speak about Diddy for years, but never in great detail. But in this documentary, things are starting to change because she even exposed an email that she got from Diddy back in the day while working on Danity Kane. In this documentary, Aubrey O'Day starts reading old emails that she has from Diddy in March of 2008, which, mind you, is just months before she ended up being fired from Danity Kane in October of 2008. She is reading these very graphic emails, and it's showing in this documentary of Diddy trying to throw advances towards her. And Aubrey O'Day said also Diddy was sending intimate photos of his privates to her also with these emails. Aubrey O'Day starts reading this one specific email from Diddy where she claims that Diddy said, "I don't want to just F you. I want to turn you out. I can see you being with somebody that you tell them what to do. I make my woman do what I tell her to do, and she loves it. I just like to do things different. I'm going to finish watching this adult film and pleasuring myself. I'll think of you. If you change your mind, hit me." Aubrey O'Day does say that she believes that Diddy fired her from Danity Kane because she was refusing his advances.
Allegations connected to shared environments introduce another layer. Not only about individual actions, but about those who may have witnessed concerns and remained silent. The documentary frames silence as an unspoken agreement within elite circles.
And she said if anybody else that was a boss talked to their worker like this, they would automatically get in trouble for doing something like this. But she believes that Diddy didn't get in trouble because of who he was. Aubrey O'Day even went to talk about the environment that it was like working for Diddy. And she said it was very violent and hectic at times. And towards the end of this documentary, Aubrey O'Day starts getting very emotional, saying that she was contacted by a lawyer by somebody who was filing a lawsuit against Diddy. Now, whoever this person was that filed this lawsuit against Diddy wrote an affidavit and was claiming that they saw something back in 2005 of Aubrey O'Day being SA'd by Diddy and another person. The person that wrote this affidavit said that at the time, Aubrey O'Day looked inebriated, like she wasn't even fully there, but claiming that she was 100% certain that it was Aubrey O'Day that she saw. Aubrey O'Day even said she got in contact with this person that was claiming to see these events happening, and that this person doubled down, saying she knows what she saw. Aubrey O'Day even said that this person that filed this lawsuit and wrote this information about her said, "You can even take it public. I will double down and stand right behind you." You can tell that Aubrey O'Day was obviously very shaken up by this. She said she has known about this accusation for over a year. She is claiming this is something that she has no recollection of, so she is really worried and wondering if something like this actually did happen to her, like this person is claiming. This is only one topic that I do want to talk about when it comes to the Diddy documentary. I feel like there's quite a few things that I want to talk about. But for now, y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Speaking up threatens access. Staying quiet preserves position. The most unsettling question isn't only who acted, but who looked away. When power freezes a room, does inaction become participation?
That didn't look weird.
It's very weird. The voice memos alone. I miss your legs.
Your limp leg. Your
limp leg.
Not legs. Your limp leg. L-E-G.
Yeah. Jeez.
What straight grown man says that to another grown man? Because it sounds like the leg that he was referring to was his pee-pee sky.
And again, we're bouncing around, but for Lil Rod, that whole part right there where he stated, they would all just be drinking, and then all of a sudden everyone's out of it, and he would wake up with women next to him. Sometimes he'll wake up with Diddy next to him, not remembering what happened the night before.
Yeah.
That's as wild as it gets, man. There's so much left unsaid.
Just wake up with Diddy next to him. Wake up sore. But I'm tripping, all right? I'm tripping. I mean, that's what the whole world went around saying.
By the end, the documentary does not ask viewers to deliver verdicts. It asks them to observe how systems protect themselves. Rumors only become records when someone is willing to absorb the cost of speaking. Until then, power relies on delay, doubt, and distance. If these stories remain hidden for years, the question isn't just what happened, but what conditions allowed them to stay untouched.
I'm sure. Okay.
When you see the Eric Sermon discussion about Misa, and it seems like Diddy's just out there to take everyone's girl. It seems like if you got her, I want her. For the situation where they say he was trying to shape Misa into his mother, can you see that? Like,
yeah, with the blonde hair and and all of that. I mean, somebody asked a question: what kind of man puts his hands on his mother? The same kind of man that parties with his mom, the same kind of man who kisses his mom in the mouth, the same kind of man who seems to have accurate knowledge that his elderly mother can put both of her hands, her palms, on the floor and while she's standing up, bent over.
Oh damn! I ain't seen that one. Oh.
You never seen the Instagram video where he was talking about how his mom was still young and spry and how she still liked to party and how they was getting a IV drip?
Oh.
And she was kissing him in the mouth on the video. And he was like, "Yeah, my mom can bend over and touch the floor with her palms." It's a very, very, very weird relationship.
Several voices describe an industry where speaking out carries professional risk. Careers depend on relationships, and relationships depend on discretion. This dynamic rarely requires direct threats. It functions through shared understanding. If telling the truth costs everything, who can realistically afford to do it?
I think I told you about that. One time, him and Sarah and this young girl flew from Atlanta. And and flying from Atlanta, we had this artist with us, right? And we were staying in the presidential suite at the hotel. And this particular artist and Puff, they told me, don't let nobody come in the room. So I said, all right, cool. So I propped my chair by the room door while they went in. So this artist's cousin knocked on the door. So I went to him and I let him in because I knew him. I see his face and everything. I've seen his face several times before. He said, yo, I got to speak to my cousin. And I said to him, well, they busy right now, man. And they told me don't let nobody come in the room. He said, yo, I'm going in the room to get my cousin out. And I said, bruh, you ain't going in the room to get your cousin out. They told me nobody could go in the room. So he said, I don't care who you are, what you're doing like that. I'm going to get my cousin. He went to go and try to open the room. I grabbed his ass, joked him up, and slammed him on the piano. And the next thing you know, Puff and this artist run out the room naked. And so then I see the artist trying to grab a towel. Puff didn't give a shit. And the artist like, yo, what's wrong? What's going on? What's going on? He's like, yo, Gene, that's my cousin. And I was like, yo, my man, he was trying to get in the room, and y'all told me don't let nobody come in this room. Jesus Christ going to have to come take the Puff. No, Jesus going to have to take the air out my body if anybody coming in that room. And Puff just looked at the artist, and the artist said, you ain't want to come up in there? It was a lot of freaking shit going on. And that was it. And I ain't telling you the artist's name.
Oh, man. So you ain't going to tell the artist's name, yo?
You ain't want to come up in there? Because it was a lot of freaking shit going on.
Was it a rapper or a singer?
It was a rapper. A rapper that probably do a little singing too. And that's all I'm going to say.
A central theme of the documentary is progression. How stories move from whispers to testimony, from allegation to documentation. Not every claim is treated as fact, but none are dismissed without examination. The film argues that accountability doesn't begin with certainty. It begins with willingness to investigate. What happens when institutions only respond after harm becomes public?
Diddy is considering suing Netflix over 50 Cent's Diddy documentary. Right before this documentary dropped, Diddy actually sent a cease and desist to Netflix over this documentary, claiming that the videos they got once again were stolen. Diddy is not happy that these private videos, especially the ones of him talking to his lawyers, are out on this Netflix documentary for everybody to see. But Netflix hit back to these statements, claiming that they basically got this video footage legally from the person that was filming Diddy during this time. And a lot of people are confused on why Diddy was even recording things like this in the first place. Diddy claimed that this was all video footage that he had somebody record of him because he was going to use it to produce something of his own. Now watching all of these different video clips from this footage that Diddy was having recorded of himself, it's very clear that he was trying to use these videos, or he was going to push a PR narrative to make himself look better. All of this video footage was before Diddy's arrest, but they had already raided his house. He was already getting hit with tons of lawsuits during this time, but it was right before he was actually indicted. When he was sued by Don Richard, in these video clips, he was having people look for old interviews where Don Richard was talking good about him. He kept saying in these clips that he needed to control the narrative because the biggest thing was media. And I think that this is one reason why Diddy probably didn't want these video clips out now, because this can actually be used against Diddy in Don Richard's lawsuit, which is still active right now. I'm not gonna lie, I was even more shocked that Diddy was having somebody record him calling Kalina Harper, telling her to make a public statement for him after Don Richard sued him. Which, mind you, once again, this video clip she could use in her lawsuit against Diddy, and it wouldn't make him look very good. What's even crazier is this is some of the stuff the prosecutors brought up before Diddy's trial even happened, but after he was arrested, and one of the reasons why Diddy kept getting denied bail. So in my opinion, it was very bold for him to be recording this situation, because mind you, during this time, Diddy knew he was under investigation by the feds. They had already raided his house. He just wasn't legally indicted and took to jail yet. It was just a couple of days away. Throughout this process, even during the trial, you would have heard Diddy's lawyer claim that Diddy knew he was actually going to jail, and he went to New York to turn himself in.
In its final movement, the documentary steps back to ask the largest question. These stories did not remain hidden because no one knew. They remained hidden because the system was built to absorb them. Power delayed scrutiny. Success softened doubt. Silence filled the gaps. If the truth took decades to surface, the question is no longer only what happened, but whether the system that allowed it has truly changed at all.